Welcome to COGIC Real Talk with Dr. Harold Bennett, Dr. Jonathan Lotson, and General Board Member Bishop J. Drew Sheard. We are here to have just an informal conversation about, first of all, this topic that we had Bishop Sheard talk with us about leadership and team building for our local churches in this post-quarantine environment. Bishop Sheard had mentioned a book that we had been discussing, and I think Dr. Lotson put it in the notes, the Post-Quarantine Church by Tom Rainer. And there's just a lot of stuff that's in that book, and we thank Bishop Sheard for helping us to use that book to grow. Now, what we want to do is hear from you. You know, what's on your mind, comments, additional information, you know, about leadership, team development, you know, in this post-quarantine era. Go ahead and take a few minutes and text somebody, share the information, call somebody. Hey, tweet out something, you know, let them know that we got a conversation going on and that they can be a part of it. And make sure you like our Facebook page, Charles H. Mason Theological Seminary, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes. And just so you know, even though Dr. Bennett and I are on the screen right now, Bishop Sheard, he is with us. And this is your opportunity to dialogue with Bishop. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and we will open it up and give Bishop an opportunity to answer your questions. This is your opportunity to share. And even if you want to add to the conversation, I believe we're welcome and open to that as well. So please feel free to put all of those things in the chat as we begin to talk about this. And this is an informal conversation. And so as you're getting your questions together, I just have a question, as Bishop was talking about earlier, as we was thinking about the service and everything. And how we can't take all day to be in service, especially as we're streaming and everything. It's very hard to keep the attention of people. And Bishop said they're only going to retain only about 17, 18 of what you're saying anyway. So it doesn't really even do good to do a 2-hour sermon. So Bishop, talk to us, if you don't mind, about your Sunday morning experience. Could you walk us through that service and perhaps even the planning leading up into that service with your team, if you don't mind giving us an inside scoop on the great church in Detroit?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking.
I got my pen.
You know what happens at Greater Emmanuel. Many people have heard me tell the story about how I went to Los Angeles when I first started pastoring, just to see how Bishop Blake's church was being, or how his service was being conducted. And one thing I noticed is that he didn't have what we called it back then, a MC. We call him now sometime a worship leader. He didn't have one of those, and because he was on a real tight schedule, because he was doing 4 Sunday morning services. And so I came back home and then I said, from now on, I'm not going to have an MC, because the MC gets up and he said, all right, we're going to have a number from the choir. And then, the choir sang, and then he sit down, then he gets up and then he want to preach behind the choir. And then somebody else says something. He got to preach. They got to preach. And so I cut all that out. I had my ministerial staff meets before the service and they give assignments. And when they give assignments, they just get up and they said, I am Elder J. Drew Sheard, and we'll be reading responsibly the affirmation of faith, and let us stand. And then that cuts it. I found out that cuts a good 30 to 45 minutes off your service. So my service is set up so that it starts like this and it goes on an incline until it gets to the message. When it gets to the message, of course, that's the pinnacle point of our service. So when at that incline, when it gets to the message, it's on and popping, as the kids say. It's on and popping. We're gonna have a great service, but we just got to do it, and we do that. Of course, my 8:30 service is about an hour long. My 11:30 service is about, I think it's about an hour and 30 minutes, I believe. About an hour and 30 minutes, hour 30, 35 minutes, something like that. So we have tremendous service, good preaching, good singing, and it goes very well. But it's a very, and my sermon is usually no more than about, of course, in the 8:30 service is about 10, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. But in the 11:30 service might be 20, 25 minutes. And we have a great time. That's the greater Emmanuel experience. And it's anointed. And that's the thing that's going to get you the most. And so we say you need to have a GEI experience.
Wow. Bishop, listen, we got some questions. One of the listeners wants you to talk more about what it means to have a shepherd's heart for our church. What does it mean to have a shepherd's heart for a church? What does it mean to have a shepherd's heart? That's what the question is.
Well, you know, the shepherd is, if you ever look at a film or something where it's got the sheep and the shepherd is always trying to keep the sheep together and to keep them from getting snatched away, for any harm coming on them. And I'll share something with you. And this, of course, you all are probably already familiar with this story. But a shepherd, he has the staff, and the staff has a point at the end and a hook on the other end. The hook is to reach and grab the sheep that are going astray and pull them back into the fold. The point on the end is to point and jab the wolves away that will come to try to get into the fold and devour sheep. Now, when a sheep repeatedly disobeys and goes astray, the shepherd takes that sheep and he breaks his front legs and he holds him. That's why you see in that picture that the shepherd has one sheep in his arm. And he has him there so that he can become familiar with his voice, so that he can stop running around. And when his legs heal, he gets back into the fold and he doesn't run away that much. Now, there's a call that the shepherd makes. And when the call that the shepherd makes, the sheep come closer and closer together. And I'm told that if there is a strange animal amongst them, when they come closer and closer together, they squeeze the life out of the strange animal. When the shepherd makes his call to his sheep, the sheep have to come together to squeeze the life out of the devil. And that's what we have to do. Now, as far as my heart for the sheep, listen, I don't want anything to happen to anybody who has submitted to my leadership. And I don't let other pastors come and dog my members out. I don't like for preachers to come and fuss at my church. When I bring you in, I want you to come and inspire the people. I will do the instructing. That's my job. And I don't need anybody coming in talking about, I need you to come in and straighten out my church. No, that's my job. I can straighten out my church. So you see, I'm a funny kind of guy when it comes to my church. And like I told you earlier, my wife and sister will tell you, don't mess with his members now, because he gonna get going if you mess with his members. And because I love them and I praise God for them. And once again, I'm gonna say it one more time. If you are loyal to your people will be loyal to you.
Wow.
Is there another question?
That powerful.
That was a lot, wasn't it? And you know
that
what?
was so good.
And you know what? I've had some members who have been in some real trouble, but I never stopped loving them. I never stopped. I like, and I've had some high profile people who have been in trouble. Of course, you all know it's no secret about the mayor of Detroit, the former mayor of Detroit, Kwame Kilpatrick, got in a lot of trouble. And people want to say, you need to leave him. I never abandoned him. I'm his pastor. And when
Right.
people are in trouble, that's when they need their pastor.
That's
And
right.
and so my members, people say, well, them people, I had people on the radio and stuff saying people leaving this church by the droves. That was so untrue. My church was still jam packed through that whole episode because my members knew that the same way I defended him and stayed close to him and protected him, I would do them the same way.
Wow. So we have another question that just came in. The
Yes.
question is, how does one shepherd and participate in all of the various things that you mentioned previously in a virtual setting?
Oh, like I said, here, and I'm gonna make this answer a little shorter because I know I'm talking too long. But like I said, we got these Zooms, and then I'm actually doing meetings with my members by Zoom, and then we talk, and they call me at any time. My members call me or text me, and I respond. I respond to them, and that's how we're staying together now. Is through texting. We got a ministry at our church. It's called Texting and Checking, and then I do texting because my members got my phone number, so it's no secret. And I talk to them, communicate with them. They'll call me. I'll call them back if they don't reach me, and that's the way we do it. That never be too busy for the people that you're held responsible for.
Wow. And if you don't mind, when you said something when you were talking about the how the sheep come together, and if a shepherd does their job, the sheep will come together and unify in such a way that it actually builds and it really kills the cliques and all the other isms and schisms and things. I was listening to a pastor once who talked about how he grew his church because he taught his people how to have healthy disagreements and to not really get into conflict. And so as the shepherd is leading them and holding them and doing all that they can to help them, it actually brings the sheep together. Can you talk about the leader's job and their leadership team in helping to unify the church? Because a unified church can grow when they're not trying to stop people from coming in and try to kick people out who's already there.
Yeah, man. That pastor that has taught his congregation how to not have conflict, I probably need to get his number from him because I have conflict in my church, but it's a healthy conflict. It's a conflict that encourages other people to become better and to become stronger, to become more knowledgeable. And then at the same time, I advocate that all leaders must strive to become good listeners. You got to listen to people. It can't just be your way. And so sometimes as a pastor, we have to be the arbitrator. Sometimes we have to be the judge. And sometimes we've got to cry with one side and rejoice with some sides. We got to do all of those things. And so that's so important. And when that's what I mean by being sensitive to the people. The people like it when you're sensitive to them. And you got to be a good listener. You just have to be a good listener in order to be an effective leader. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir.
You did. There's another comment here, Bishop, that talks about loyalty, and the person who's listening who typed it said that loyalty is one of your highest values. And
Yes.
the question that I'd like to push on is, what do you have a central value, one that's your, that could pretty much say, all right, if you want to talk about or understand Bishop J. Drew Sheard, there is one idea, one principle that definitely is the core of who he is. It's his DNA. Do you have one? And if so, what would it be?
It is loyalty. It is loyalty. That's probably I don't. It's probably one of my members that said that. I'm a stickler for loyalty. I don't believe that people should. I just believe in loyalty. I exemplify loyalty to my leaders, and so therefore I expect loyalty, and it works like that. But it's a bad thing for people to think that they can't. It's a bad thing for people to think, or leaders to think, that they don't have to be under somebody, because your people need to see that you're a good follower too. And if you don't have anybody to answer to, then you can't pattern, you can't be a precept and example for what you're trying to get them to do.
Wow, that's really good. We have another question in the comment section that asks, do you use a year-end review or revisit process at your church?
I do, and it is done because it is done on the basis of where we are, what we're trying to get going on, and whatnot. It goes back to the old plan that I shared with you about the objectives and whatnot. We go through evaluation. What did we do wrong? How can we do it better? And so all of that is a part of that evaluation process.
So, Bishop, what does it take for a pastor, a leader, to be willing to hear criticism? And when I say criticism, if you're doing evaluation, do you ever allow the members to evaluate, or should the members evaluate the pastor? Mm-hmm. Should the pastor be open to talking with the members and find out if some stuff just ain't cutting it? What would you say about evaluating the pastor? Think we dropped. We lost it. Oh man,
that's a good question though, and I'm pretty sure that he's going now. He has some time to really think about it now, and I'm pretty sure we're going to just be wowed by the answer, because that's something I don't think most people don't deal with that one, Ding. I don't know where you pulled that one. You pulled it out.
Oh man, I pulled it out from listening to Bishop Sheard when he was talking about evaluating and sitting down and assessing what's going on. I think that is a phenomenal idea, and I'm hoping that our churches will take that to heart. But I wonder though, what would it take for a leader to subject him or herself to that same type of thing that they're willing to do, or the same type of situation they're willing to create, for other people.
Right.
Are they willing to do the same kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, I think it would be beneficial if a leader does it or not. It's open, and we're looking and anticipating to hear Bishop Sheard's answer. But I do believe that it is something that is very beneficial to every pastor, to every auxiliary leader, and so on and so forth. Because getting feedback and hearing the thoughts from another angle, one of my favorite words is perspective. And as we do those types of things, we get another perspective that helps us as we are considering how we can be better. And that's our job. Every day we should be seeking to get better and better and better, and asking those types of questions, even though they may be challenging. It helps us to be a little bit better.
All right. Well, I tell you what we'll do. Why don't we just go ahead and put a oh, Brother Halls, that was a great question.
Yeah. You asked it.
Wow, that was a great question. Well, I tell you what we can do. We could go on and put a small little pin in it, and we'll find another way and another day and another time, and we'll talk with Bishop Sheard.
Yes.
And see if his schedule will permit, and see if we can't get him to come back. It sounds like he would be available, and I'm hoping that we could find some kind of way to work our schedule into his, and I think that would be the way to go at this kind of thing. Dr. Lotson, phenomenal conversation.
Oh, the pleasure is mine. And we thank God for Bishop Hall. We recognize you. We see you just made a comment. We thank you for joining us, Bishop.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting there just taking this all in. I thank God for the Charles Harrison Mason Theological Seminary. I thank God for Bishop David Allen Hall Sr. as we, every year we have this celebration, and I thank God for his willingness to work to help us have a program here in Atlanta that really, seeks to improve, the level and the quality of ministry that we can give and provide the world. Listen, I want you again to subscribe to the Charles Harrison Mason Theological Seminary YouTube channel.
Please
subscribe. And I want you to like our Facebook page. And tomorrow, you want to join us tomorrow. Join us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be discussing effective business plans for local churches in this new era. Tomorrow night, we're going to have what I call the guru of business plans.
Oh, yes.
I call him the guru, because and you want to be here tomorrow night because you're going to get a chance to see. You're going to see this week we have COGIC's finest with us, and tomorrow Bishop Cedric Daniels is going to be with us, and you're going to get a chance to hear business planning at its best, and you want to be a part of it. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll talk with you tomorrow night. Bishop J. Drew Sheard, love you. Thank you so much for caring. What you want to say now, Brother Lotson?
Only thing I want to say is thank you, Dean, for allowing me to be here. It was my pleasure to join you in this conversation with Bishop Sheard. And for those watching, I want you to know that just like Bishop Sheard answers his phone, Dean Bennett answers his. So if you're on the fence and you're saying, I don't know if I want to go to seminary, I have some questions, I just want to talk to somebody, call the seminary. And Dean, you will be able to talk to him, and he'll be happy to answer your questions, any thoughts or anything. If it's financial or anything, as Dean's previously stated, there is financial assistance for you. And I am an alumni of this great institution, and it has literally changed my life for the better. And I want you to have this same experience that I had. So if you're on the fence, feel free to call the seminary. And I'm pretty sure that Dean, if he doesn't answer right then, he will call you back.
All right. All right. Until next time.
Until next time.
We'll see you later. Peace. Hello, I'm Dr. Harold Bennett. I am the President Dean of the Charles Harrison Mason Theological Seminary at the Interdenominational Theological Center. The Charles Harrison Mason Theological Seminary is the official graduate school for theological education, Church of God in Christ. We are part of a consortium which is an accredited school for religious and theological education. You ought to consider the Charles Harrison Mason Theological Seminary if you are interested in coming to seminary. We are African American. We are Pentecostal. And we are Church of God in Christ. We offer 4 degrees: the Master's of Divinity, a Master's of Arts in Liturgy and Culture, and a Master's of Arts in Christian Education, as well as the Doctor of Ministry. Those master's degrees are there to help you if you feel called of God to work as a pastor, to work as a therapist, to work in other kinds of institutional ministries. Master of Divinity is for you. If you are a man or woman of God and you're interested in liturgy, worship arts, music, dance, drama, all of those things, at the ITC Mason Seminary, we have a program for you. If you are interested in Christian education, we have a graduate program for you. If you've already received your master's degree and you're interested in receiving your terminal degree, the Doctor of Ministry, we have a program for you. I'd love for you to be a part of the Charles Harrison Mason Theological Seminary. Financial assistance is available. And what you can do, you can reach us at 404-527-7775. Let me say it again, 404-527-7775. 7775 is our number, or you can reach us at itc.edu. Come on down to Mason Seminary. Our graduates are everywhere doing great things for the Lord. We'd love for you to become a part of what we're doing there and graduate and become a part of the Charles Harrison Mason Seminary Alumni Association. I love you. I'm Dr. Harold Bennett, and I would love to be your dean. God bless you.